A crooked smile carved its way across Naya's maw. She could easily tell what was going through Jeremy's mind right now. He was hardly the first. Throughout history, Shaskaran women have been notorious for using their female assets as a personal weapon to charm the simple-minded. Jeremy was no exception. Maybe not. Maybe he was... Huh. No, we're not gonna flirt with him, come on. The knight before her was still considerably young, probably close to her son's age. That thought alone tugged at her. The pain of losing a son almost broke her, a mighty warrior crumbling inside. She could only imagine the grief the simple knight's family would endure from his loss. Naya swiftly closed the gap between her and Jeremy. Her giant paw rested atop his gauntlet. Sir Jeremy was stunned at first, ready to pull away, but was met with something he wasn't ready for. A motherly gaze? He froze after meeting her large, stunning eyes. Compassion flooded from them. Dread hung over him as he was faced with a warm smile. A smile similar to his own mother's when he had started training to be a knight. Oh, sweet knight. We wish no bloodshed with you. Not today. I just want to talk. This war has gone on long enough, don't you think? Everyone here... Oh, sorry about that. Everyone here has family they dream of seeing again. Naya made a mental note of Jeremy's attire to find anything on his person that she could use to her advantage. Aw, that crest he bears, it wasn't an imperial crest. Family crest, maybe? She took a stab at his emotions and gingerly traced her finger over his crested shoulder plate. My god, Naya is a fucking genius, mate. Going to war is never something to be proud of, especially when there is no meaning behind it. It is a cruel end for everyone involved. She gently squeezed his paw now with hers. This war lost its purpose years ago for her. She could only guess what drove the Empire's men. Soldiers never come home. Not the same. But if there were ways to end this war and see your loved ones again, would you? Isn't that what we all fight for? For them? Jeremy was at a loss for words. Out of all the unworthy things he'd witnessed throughout the war, he wasn't prepared for this. The Shaskarans, whom were rumored to have warriors against Suplex cavalry units, were actually acting humane and decent. Remorse filled with his mind, expecting to scold a bunch of savage brutes. All he saw at the moment were visions of his own mother whenever he looked Naya in the face. Well, that is true. In most cases. It's more of a surprise to hear it from your kind, of all people. If you speak with this kind of valor, then perhaps you're worth the ear of the Valar Empire. Naya's tail sways in delight to his words. She guided his arm up to her face and pressed a warm kiss to the knuckles in the back of his hand. Thank you, sweet knight. Flustered, Jeremy nervously pulled away and gripped the reins to his horse. He bit his lip to retain his stoic composure towards her, but every so often fumbled at his words. Thank you, madame. Your gracious respect is a welcome sign for the Empire. Stay here, be at your best, and I'll send word of your intentions, Lady Naya. Naya nods and pats at his crested shoulder once more before it trots off. She padded over to her people, all stunned in silence and eager to hear what their leader had to say. The first thing she said was directed to Zuta. Wine! Now! Zuta rifled through his saddlebag and tossed her one of his wine pouches. Naya poured the entire pouch into her maw and began swishing it around. You kiss his paw? Naya gargled and spat out the wine. Bah, I think he polished his gloves and wiped his own ass with them. Heh, if he didn't think highly of himself then, he does now. Naya chuckled and shrugged off the comment. I felt sorry for the kid. It might be his last day depending on how well things go. Still, to get someone's hopes up like that. So cruel. Naya thought back to her daughter, to their evening together in the tree. Such a cruelty. Yeah, I know. Hopefully the Emperor isn't as pompous as the rest. They both look to Jeremy as he reached the forest line. Well, just don't be surprised if talks of ass-kissing comes up after this. Jeremy crossed the threshold to the Imperial camp, being greeted by his Imperial sentinels. He wasted no time and went directly to the Emperor. Inside his private tent, the Emperor and his officers huddled around a war map. Once Jeremy entered, everyone's attention snapped to him. You're back! Yeah. What news have you brought? Did they do anything to you? Jeremy paused with a sigh after being cut off so frequently. Speak up, lad. The enemy's literally on our toes right now. Jeremy held up a finger to gain a word in the conversation. I don't think enemy is the right word to describe him, at least in this case anyway. Everyone stared quizzically at him. How do you mean? How do you mean? Sorry, they spoke rather diligently, sir. As notorious as they are known in battle, I was surprised at how calm their leader was when we spoke. I'm sure they were very informative, seeing how quickly you returned and all. Yes, sir. She was. The Emperor raised a paw to silence the knight. Everyone held their tongues instantly. She? Jeremy nodded. Yes, my lord, that abnormally sized lioness. She is their leader. Naja was her name. Not surprised. Most of the Shaskaran war parties we've encountered over the years were led by the biggest in the group. Makes sense in her case. And most of them loved to ambush us. Solaire motions Jeremy closer towards him. He obliged and reached earshot to the Emperor. I don't hear how sloppy their formation is right now. These Shaskarans have always been unpredictable. They're the usurper's wild card, to say the least. Indeed. Jeremy, I've always trusted your judgment to be keen. But I need to know just how much can we trust the word of this Shaskaran threat. Jeremy choked under the pressure of Solaire's demanding concerns. He wrapped his mind around this time with Naja, trying to process any kind of threat from her. Listen, kid, you be simping. Clear your mind, don't think with your dick. All that Jerry could think of was a warm smile she gave to him, a smile that only a mother could possess. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it, my lord. It was as if speaking to my own mother when talking with Lady Naja. Her only demands were to talk with the Empire. Emperor Solaire stepped back with a puzzled look towards his knight. Just like your mother, you say? Heh, am I willing to believe I'll be treated to some ginger snap cookies from her if I do speak with her? Jeremy cracked a smile and joined in with a weak chuckle. Everyone else was left in a cold, confused silence. Solaire spoke to the entire room. His mother created a savory tray of cookies during a winter festival. The Emperor leans in closer to Jeremy and whispers aloud. Speaking of which, I'm well aware she supplies you with a batch of worth of them in a care package every so often. Next one you get from her, I'd like at least 2 to 5. Jeremy nodded with a timid smile to the Emperor's orders. The pleasing moment was short-lived. General Pax cut in abruptly, his tone stern and slightly annoyed. Going back to formations, Jeremy, what can you tell us about their arrangement? Were they well rested, exhausted, what? Yes, that's another thing, sir. Most of them didn't even represent themselves like they're a war party would. They all look like they're ready to go to a tavern and then start a fight. As long as it isn't a tavern brawl, this day might actually prove fruitful for us. Well, I best not keep our guests of honor waiting then. But sire! Solaire held his paw up. I know, Romeo, I know. But the longer we wait, who knows what other forces might be coming behind the horizon. I wish to settle this right away. Go regroup with Samuel and his scouts. Relay everything to me before I head out. We go in 10 minutes. We'll be done, my lord. With a flick of his wrist, the Emperor declared the meeting over. Everyone dispersed from the tent, leaving only Solaire to contemplate his approach. Well, that was a fruitful meeting. Let me just check how many minutes we have. Wow! The desert sun had reached its peak, readying itself center stage for the spectacle that was to come. Cascading clouds slowly crept up on the Shaskaran front. The winds, wow, nice one, Sleepy. The winds pushed rigorously at their backs. Not even the gods seemed to contain their eagerness to the brewing conflict. Staying idly by her banner, Naja squats down beside it. She hadn't a care in the world regarding the enemy in front of her, as her full attention was on her daughter, Mijina. The feisty cub padded in place and jabbed at the air while going over what her mother should do in her fight. Naja always adored the fiery spirit her daughter possessed. Thanks to her teachings, as well as members of her tribe chiming in on lessons, she saw a mighty warrior in the making. She couldn't be more proud of that fact. An adored smile hugged her face admirably towards her daughter while she discussed ways to mutilate the Emperor. How about ripping his mane off and shove it down his throat? Going for a lion's vanity. That certainly can leave a scar, but a little too quick and not as savory for a taste, sweetie. When a Shaskaran makes an example out of someone, make their very names be the chilling reminder of what happens when you fuck with Shaskara. Any legacy made before we were just a mere blood splotch in history. They are barbaric, damn, or brutal. Naja creaks out a hearty grin, beaming with loving approval to her daughter's enthusiasm towards her culture. Onlookers listening to the conversation hollered out chants and laughter to the little one's creed. Again, if and when we fight, what else could mommy do to the big bad highborn's ass? Mijina scratches her chin in thought. Get him in an ankle lock, twist it until it's turned backwards, then go in for some wild jabs while he hobbles about in front of his men. Oops, sorry? Naja straightens up with a purr and an enticing brow raised at the idea. Now we're getting somewhere. Making a mockery out of him will leave a very lasting impression on his people. Keep going, what else, sweetie? Right, rip his tail off, shove it down his throat, then carve your claws into his gut and fish out the tail. Oh, and once you do, tie each end together like a living meat bag. Naja witnesses in her daughter's eyes how enthralled she is, letting her imagination run wild. Out of the entire kingdom surrounding them, brutality was their signature export outside their homeland, if not the only thing they were any good at to the outside world. Her eyes flash with intrigue, there's no H there, to her daughter's idea and banters along. Ooh, now that's thinking like a Shaskaran, sweetie. Yeah, and we could even suspend them on trees or something as our warning effigies. Decorating trees with strung up corpses. I feel like that could be our new signature in this war. Don't you agree, men? Everyone within the proximity howled with approving laughter and yells to the idea. Mijina bites her lip with a 2D smile. She beamed with giggling glee as everyone praised her idea. Naja pulls her in and cups her paw against her daughter's face. Ruffling up her shaggy hair, Naja leaps her cheek with a lick and chuckles. No words were needed between them as she hugged Mijina dearly to her loving embrace. This war promised to give them the world, but stripped them of the things they valued the most. Now that all remained was the time they could share with one another. Oh, that's sad, bro. Even with the looming threat of the Valar Empire at her back, holding Mijina in her arms mattered most to her right now. Boom! Oh wait, no, that's boom! The sounding of a war horn upheaved the tender moment between mother and daughter. Naja glances over her shoulder and witnessed flocks of birds scattering from the tree line. The sound trembled beneath her talons, sensing a mighty force was on the move and in full force. Naja takes a deep breath. This was her moment. She turns her gaze back on Mijina, now biting her upper lip, nervously but held her composed while staring at her mother. Naja breams out a cynical smile. Mommy needs to go now, sweetie. Duty calls. She a baddie, fam. Mijina darts into her mother's arms and hugs her neck tightly. Burying her tiny maw against her mother's ear, she growls. I love you, Mom. Finish this quickly, please. Naja pauses for a moment before she nuzzles Mijina into her loving embrace. Only to be pushed away by Mijina. The cub clasps her tiny paws over her mother's massive muzzle and glares into her eyes. Rip his cock off, Mom! Well, that's one way to support your mother, I guess. Naja chuckles with a toothy grin, eyes gleaming with pure approval of her daughter's creativity. She clasps hold of Mijina's head in her palms and kisses her forehead. I'll see what I can muster, sweetie. Now go find yourself a